You've been taught that truth is something spoken, that wisdom is found in books, in lectures, in the words of those who seem to know more than you. You've been trained to seek answers outside, to chase voices louder than your own, to believe that enlightenment is a place you arrive at through accumulation. But Thoth never shouted. He never argued. He inscribed. And even then, not to convince, but to awaken remembrance. For Thoth speaks in silence, in frequency, in light, encoded in vibration. He speaks not to the ears, but to the soul. Not to inform, but to activate. His voice does not come from outside. It rises from the deepest part of you that has never forgotten who you are. The part that exists before language, before time, before separation. To hear him, you must grow quiet, not just around you, but within. You must stop chasing the next answer long enough to notice the voice that was always there, whispering beneath the noise. You are more than you've been told. You are more than you remember. You are the unfolding tablet, and your soul holds the code. This is the first illusion to dissolve that you are incomplete, that you must ascend towards something you are not yet worthy of. But Thoth teaches the reverse. You are already encoded with all that is needed for your evolution. The journey is not outward, but inward. Not to become, but to remember. Picture a seed. Contained within it is the full blueprint of the tree. Not a vague idea, but a precise design: when to root, when to sprout, when to reach, when to bloom. Your soul is no different. The timeline of your awakening is not written by fate, but by vibration. And the codes of Thoth are not distant teachings. They are the keys that awaken your inner rhythm to its rightful tempo. Perhaps you felt it a stirring in your chest when you hear sacred names, a quiet grief when the world feels too heavy, a gentle electricity when you're alone and suddenly certain that you are not. These are moments of contact, not from elsewhere, but from the ancient within you, from the original part of you that remembers the stars, the symbols, the silence that sings louder than sound. To live from this space is not to escape life. It is to meet it as a soul, not just a role. It is to move through traffic bills, relationships, and silence with the awareness that something vaster is breathing through you. And that every experience, no matter how mundane or messy, is a note in the song of your evolution. Thoth never demanded devotion. He offered law, not as rules, but as instruments, tools for the soul to remember its own design. The law of vibration, the principle of mentalism, the sacred truth of correspondence. These are not doctrines. They are lenses, filters that remove the fog of illusion so that clarity can return. And with clarity comes coherence. With coherence comes power, not dominance, but resonance. You do not need to control your life. You need to attune to its code. You do not need to chase your destiny. You need to quiet the static long enough to hear its pull. So start here. With breath, with presence, with the willingness to listen, not to another's voice, but to the current that moves through your own. Ask yourself, not what do I need to do, but what is already awakening in me now. What part of me remembers what the world told me to forget? This is the first teaching. This is the voice beneath all voices. It does not demand, It invites, it sings, and when you truly listen, it is not Thoth you hear, it is yourself. Close your eyes and see, not with vision, but with awareness. Can you sense it? The gentle pulse at the center of all creation. The ancient principle hums quietly beneath every moment, every breath, every event you call reality. The all is mind, the universe is mental. This is not metaphor. This is architecture. Your thoughts are not echoes, they are blueprints. You are not reacting to life, you are authoring it. Thoth understood this truth and lived it. He did not separate spirit from thought, nor energy from attention. He saw the mind as the womb of creation, where every form first gestated as a frequency before becoming visible. And you, sacred listener, are doing this too. Every moment, every thought you repeat, every emotion you bathe, and every belief you cling to weaves the structure of your experience. You are the architect, though you may have been trained to believe otherwise. You were taught to see your mind as a container, not a creator. You were told to fill it, not to listen to it. But now, the veil lifts, the temple doors open, and you are called to remember. Your thoughts are not private. They are potent. They are not inert. They are the living tools with which you shape reality. Look around you. What is showing up in your life on repeat? What dynamics return, no matter how much effort you make to escape them? What longings seem to hover just out of reach? These are not signs of failure. They are signs of feedback. They reflect not what you consciously desire, but what you subconsciously vibrate. Your life is not a test. It is a mirror. Mentalism is the law that reveals how deeply that mirror responds to you. Imagine a sculptor carving not with hands, but with thought. His medium is frequency. His chisel is focus. What he believes, he builds. What he doubts, he delays. What he fears, he fortifies. You are that sculptor. Not once in a while. Always. Even your indecision sculpts. Even your silence speaks. A man once came to me with a question. Why do I always attract struggle, he asked. He had done the work on paper. He had visualized set intentions, spoken affirmations. But still struggle returned like an old friend who knew his address by heart. So I asked, what do you believe is necessary in order to grow? He paused, then said softly, I've always believed struggle means I'm evolving. There it was, the core belief, the mental blueprint, and the universe, honest as ever, obeyed. To shift this is not to fight thought, but to reframe it. The alchemist does not eliminate the shadow, she changes its shape. So begin here, notice your recurring thoughts, not with judgment, but with curiosity. What assumptions do you carry about love, safety, abundance, self-worth? Do they serve you, or do they script you into stories your soul never agreed to? Once seen, these thoughts lose their grip, and from that space you begin to plant new codes, not as fantasy, but as vibration. Affirm, not to convince yourself, but to align your mind with what your soul already knows. Speak not just to the air, but to the matrix of creation that is listening always. Say, I am a vessel for divine intelligence. Say, my thoughts ripple through all planes. Say, I think not to control, but to align. Say, I remember the architect within me. This is how Thoth worked, not by command, but by coherence. He tuned his thoughts to the frequency of the All, and the All responded in kind. You can do the same. Mentalism is not about force. It is about frequency. You do not manifest by obsessing. You manifest by harmonizing. With thought, with feeling, with truth. And when your thoughts become sacred, deliberate, luminous, awake, your reality follows. Not instantly, but inevitably. There is a sacred order beneath the chaos, a symmetry behind the seeming unpredictability of life. You are not living in a world of fragments, but in a field of reflections. What you see around you is not separate from you. It is your echo, cast outward into form. This is the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Thoth knew this deeply, not as concept, but as living law. He walked between planes, understanding that nothing was truly divided. The material and the spiritual were not opposites, they were mirrors. And he offered this awareness to those ready to see that what you call life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. To accept this is to step into radical clarity. It is to realize that your relationships, your patterns, even your challenges are not punishments. They are reflections. They are showing you what lives in the hidden terrain of your being. This is not a judgment. It is a gift. For once, you see the outer world as a mirror, you stop blaming it and start learning from it. Imagine walking through a house of mirrors, unaware that your face is your own. You scowl, and the mirrors scowl back. You panic, and the reflections distort. You feel trapped, but then something shifts. You reach out not to fight the mirror, but to soften your own gaze. And suddenly, the reflection softens too. Life is like that. It bends to your inner shape. Your outer world is an index of your inner dialogue. Your mood becomes the tone of your encounters. Your self-worth colors the responses you receive. Your hidden grief can magnetize recurring stories of loss, not because you are cursed, but because the universe is showing you what longs to be seen, felt released. A woman once told me that she constantly felt unseen by her partner. No matter what I do, I feel invisible, she said. So I asked, where in you do you withhold visibility from yourself? Her silence said everything. For years, she had quieted her voice, dimmed her needs, postponed her dreams. Her inner pattern of self-erasure was being reflected by the one closest to her, not to harm, but to highlight. When she began showing up for herself, writing again, speaking honestly, honoring her desires, something strange happened. Her partner began noticing her in new ways, not because he changed first, but because she did. As within, so without. This is the hidden code of evolution. When you shift your inner vibration, the outer world rearranges. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the ways you expect, but it does shift. And the more you align with truth inside, the more your reality becomes a vessel for that truth. This is why spiritual growth cannot be reduced to positive thinking or quick fixes. It requires honesty, depth, willingness to look within and ask, what in me is being mirrored here? And what would shift if I change the way I see myself? Begin each day with that awareness. Before judging a situation, ask what it's showing you. Before reacting, pause, to reflect. Is this revealing something within me that I haven't yet brought into light? This is not about blame. It's about empowerment. You are not doomed to repeat the same cycles forever, but you must first see the pattern to reweave it. To walk in alignment with the law of correspondence is to move through life like a lucid dreamer, awake, aware, receptive. You understand that the external is a projection screen, and your consciousness is the film. Change the inner story, and the outer scene shifts. And when you forget, as all do, you return. Gently, you place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Let me see the lesson, not the enemy. Let me see the code, not the chaos." Because everything you encounter carries a message. And the message is always, come back to your center. The world is waiting to match you there. There is a beat beneath the breath of the universe, a cadence that does not waver, even as forms rise and fall. You may call it time, or cycle, or fate, but Thoth called it rhythm. The eternal movement of life from tide to tide, from birth to dissolution to rebirth again. The Hermetic principle of rhythm is not a theory, it is the heartbeat of all becoming. And it is inseparable from polarity, for all rhythm moves along a spectrum: light and shadow, joy and sorrow, expansion and retreat. You were not meant to remain still in your evolution, nor were you meant to resist the ebbing of life. The teaching is simple and yet profound. That which swings to the right is the same that swings to the left. Rhythm compensates. Every rise you experience will meet a return, not as punishment, but as balance. And in every fall, there is the promise of ascent. But most humans are afraid of the downswing. We crave the highs and reject the lows. We think we've failed when the energy drops, when grief returns, when uncertainty enters again like an uninvited guest. Yet Thoth teaches this too is law. This too is holy. The swing back is part of the forward motion. Consider the pendulum. It cannot move in one direction forever. It must return to center. And you too must return not to regression, but to stillness. You cannot stay in constant action. You cannot exist in permanent joy. These states lose meaning without their opposites, not because life is cruel, but because contrast creates clarity. This is the principle of polarity. Everything contains its opposite. Nothing is one-sided. Even despair holds a spark of wisdom. Even love, when unacknowledged, can become fear. Polarity invites you to see the hidden light within darkness and the shadow that sometimes hides within ecstasy. A man once shared with me how he felt ashamed for falling into sadness after a period of spiritual bliss. "I thought I was evolving," he said, "but now it feels like I've gone backward." I asked him what had changed. He said, "Nothing except that I feel again." And that was the gift. The bliss had cracked him open, but it was in the sorrow that his humanity returned. He had not regressed. He had deepened. The alchemist understands this. She does not resist the phases. She dances with them. She knows when to act and when to rest, when to speak and when to be silent. She does not chase eternal summer. She plants seeds in the winter. She does not curse the storm. She listens to its rhythm and lets it wash away what no longer serves. This is not about being passive. It is about being attuned. The swing of life will always move, but you can learn to ride it with grace. You can learn to hold your center as the tides pull. You can become the still point in the turning wheel, not because you control the rhythm, but because you've surrendered to its wisdom. To practice this is to honor your own cycles. Notice your energetic seasons. Do not demand harvest in winter. Do not push when your body calls for retreat. And when the downswing comes, do not spiral into fear. Ask instead, what is this part of the rhythm teaching me? What polarity is inviting integration now? You may find that your greatest breakthroughs come not in the rise, but in the return. That your clearest insights come in the silence between the notes. That your becoming is not linear, it is spiral. Always returning to what you thought you knew, but from a higher octave each time. So, let yourself dance. Let yourself rise and fall. Let yourself grieve and rejoice and grieve again. You are not off course. You are moving in harmony with a pattern that began long before this life and will continue long after. And as you learn to surf the rhythm rather than resist it, you begin to feel it, the gentle intelligence of life, the breath of Thoth moving through all things, not commanding, but conducting. And you are the dancer. The rhythm is your guide, the polarity is your teacher, and the swing is never punishment. It is the path. There comes a moment, quiet, luminous, unassuming, when you no longer seek the teachings outside of you. You begin to see that every sacred text you've ever studied was not meant to teach you something new, but to remind you of what you already know. The Emerald Tablet of Thoth, with its mystery and symmetry, was never only stone, it was a mirror. And now, the reflection grows clearer. You are the tablet. The ink is your breath. The words are your choices. The glyphs are your thoughts, etched moment by moment into the fabric of your life. You no longer need to decode the symbols. You have become the symbol. Your presence carries the message. Your vibration speaks the code. You are not reading wisdom, you are living it. This is the essence of spiritual embodiment. The alchemist does not hide in temples or tomes. The alchemist walks the earth with sacred ordinariness, transmuting every step into gold. Not by performing rituals, but by becoming one. The way you wake, the way you speak, the way you respond when no one is watching. These are the invocations of a realized soul. And what is the final secret of Thoth? Not that he held wisdom, but that he left it in plain sight, in stars, in breath, in rhythm, in you. The more you seek, the more you delay the realization. You are the sacred geometry unfolding in real time. You are the scroll, unrolling its meaning through presence. You are the flame that doesn't burn, but illuminates. To live as a living tablet is not to recite truths, it is to be them. To align your thought with clarity, your feeling with compassion, your will with harmony. You become coherent. And in coherence, you transmit more than your words ever could. A young seeker once asked, "How do I share Hermetic wisdom without sounding strange to others?" I smiled, because the answer is not in the telling, it is in the being. Speak less, embody more. Let your peace be the invitation. Let your boundaries be gentle yet firm, your laughter full of soul. People will feel the energy before they hear the language. You don't need to convince anyone. You need only to resonate. Let your body become the altar. Let your home become the temple. Let your gaze become a portal where others remember themselves. This is not about becoming holy in appearance. It is about becoming whole in essence. And yes, there will be days you forget. When your vibration dips, when you spiral into old stories. That's not failure, it's recalibration. The alchemist never avoids the shadow. They walk into it with a lamp, knowing that gold is always hidden in the dark. Your triggers are not curses. They are initiations. Each one a new glyph etched upon your tablet, carving more depth into your becoming. So, live awake. Breathe deliberately. Choose frequencies as if they are ink, because they are. Your every thought sends ripples into the grid. Your every emotion harmonizes or distorts the field. This is not pressure. This is privilege. You are not here to master the teachings. You are here to become the teaching. When you walk, Thoth walks again. When you love, the law loves through you. When you fall and rise again, the emerald tablet glows not in stone, but in the space of your heart, alive and unfolding. You are not a student of alchemy. You are the flame. You are the code. You are the living hermetic scroll, not by chance, but by resonance. A frequency in you is rising, a remembrance surfacing not of something new, but something ancient, something true. Thoth does not appear to teach. He appears to awaken. And what he awakens is not allegiance to a law, but devotion to your own soul's unfolding. You are not here to memorize principles. You are here to embody presence, to live as vibration, to breathe as alignment, to move as sacred rhythm. Every hermetic law you've heard, mentalism, correspondence, polarity, rhythm, they are not rules to follow. They are invitations to return to yourself, to your source, to the divine blueprint you carry in every cell. And so the question is no longer, how do I evolve? The real question is, what part of me am I ready to remember today? If this journey stirred something within you, if the words were less information and more confirmation, then speak it, share it, leave a reflection below. Let the field feel your echo. And if you wish to walk further into this remembering, subscribe, not to a channel, but to your own becoming. Because you are no longer seeking the path, you are the path.